Aprils, Giancarlo Stanton had a total of 6 home runs. He already has 6. In the last 3 Aprils, he had a total of 27 RBIs. He already has 26.
So Stanton will be front and center in this one. Our pitching matchup, Henderson Alvarez, Roenis Elias. He's an escapee from Cuba as well. And of course, the play that changed everything that brought Stanton to the plate. We'll review when we return. And Mariners. Let's head out to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Guys?
Thank you, Rich. It started with Pat Shine in the Marlins video room, then out to a call to Rob Leary, the bench coach, and then it was Mike Redmond taking over, and an overturned call that shocked you last night, Jeff Conine, but with this new instant replay, this is the way these calls have been going.
Yes, this one was reviewed last night, and it was actually turned over. When I saw that they were reviewing this play, I'm like, what? Did they think that he maybe came up the bag too early? And they went for a review, and it was all about the transfer play. So the transfer is, he had to have possession of it. Up, you see the bobble there at the end, and the rule says you got to keep possession of it for apparently a long time.
All right, Monday night, Seattle gets the benefit of the call here.
Yes, catcher, just a routine play down to the catcher. He's going to try to turn the double play at first base. You see him lose the handle on the transfer. That's the key, the transfer. He loses the handle, and they reverse the call, and now the run counts.
The official rule, when reviewing calls, replay official determines that a fielder has caught the ball consistent with official baseball rule 2.00 at the point in time that the ball touches the fielder's hand or glove, so long as the fielder maintains possession of the ball from the point of contact and thereafter, which we're trying to figure out how long is thereafter, the clean transfer. By the way, Ken Rosenthal wrote an article yesterday on FoxSports.com saying that Baseball Players Union, Major League Baseball, is looking into a less strict interpretation, a more of a common sense way of looking at it, which is how they looked at it when you played and for 150 years.
Ever since this game's been played, it's that transfer rule, and just the break from your glove to your hand, it's an out.
Hopefully some common sense will prevail. Marlins benefited last night by this new interpretation. All right, game 2 coming up. Should be fun. Rich and Tommy have the call next.
AT&T versus TV. Check availability. 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Rethink possible. By Checkers. Visit your local Checkers for the $2 shrimp and fries box. By your South Florida Honda dealer and sfhondadealers.com. Seattle and Miami. This would be game 2. Henderson Alvarez climbs the hill. Gets set to take on the Mariners. Seattle has dropped 4 in a row, 3 in Texas, and of course 1 last night. On the last swing of the night, Alvarez with that exaggerated windup for the first pitch. Pinch a penny brings you the first pitch. It's a bunt. Alvarez, good athlete, pounces on it, flips to first, and Abraham Almonte is a quick out, number 1. And here is Seattle's lineup. Good hitters, a lot of switch or lefty bats in there. Almonte on a 5-game streak. Brad Miller, the Clemson batting champ. Robinson Cano, Justin Smoke, Michael Saunders in right, Kyle Seager at third base. Dustin Ackley's in left field. Mike Zunino, the former Gator Golden Spikes winner, is the catcher. And Roenis Elias will hit 9th. And this is Brad Miller, who was 0 for 5 last night. And Alvarez buries a sinker in the dirt, 1-0.
Rich, with all those lefty batters that you saw, some switch hitters, the others pure lefties, Henderson Alvarez is going to have that good power sinker working for him tonight, and also utilize his changeup a little bit better than he has. But he's given up a lot of hits in 14 2/3 innings. Henderson's given up 25 base hits.
Opponents on base percentage against Alvarez in 3 games is .444. And that's unbelievable, because you go back to the year that he had last year, and although he was injured to start the year and didn't pitch a full season, he was very good at keeping the ball in the ballpark. In 102 innings, he gave up just 90 hits. So he was tough to hit last year. He had a great whip. And he's still looking right now for his first win of 2014.
Yeah, he allowed just 2 home runs last year.
There are his numbers last season. Just 27 walks. There's that power. I don't know if it was a fastball, Tommy, a sinker, or a little bit of that power change, but it really was a dive bomber.
I'm going to go with power sinker. It was in the 90s. And if he keeps pitches right down there where that number was, and if it was a changeup, his changeup's in the 90s.
That's amazing.
You'd like a little more differential, but you know what? It worked.
Robinson Cano smacks it foul.
If early indications are correct with Henderson Alvarez, he looks the best that he's looked so far in his previous start, just the way he's thrown to the first two hitters.
Alvarez is a really unique guy. He in no ways is similar to your average major league starter in terms of routine between starts. There's that slow breaking ball off the end of the bat. Alvarez will pounce, fire to first, and get him. How about that for a start? Henderson Alvarez, 61 miles an hour, 8th pitch, first inning. Just 8 pitches for Henderson Alvarez in the top of the first. Bottom of the first, the Marlins get a look at a 25-year-old out of Guantanamo, Cuba. Roenis Elias, 6'1", 190, a left-handed pitcher. And his first pitch is a knee-high fastball for a strike to Christian Yelich. And he's pitched well. He's had 3 really nice starts for Seattle, making his major league debut this year. This is start number 4.
See how he drops down there. He'll do that to left-handers once in a while. And in contrast to all the hits Alvarez has allowed in 16 2/3 innings, Elias has allowed just 11 base hits. Not an easy matchup for a left-handed hitter.
And his story of getting to Major League Baseball, very similar to a Danny Echeverria, who got on a boat and escaped to Mexico. Not as dangerous or arduous a trip as Jose Fernandez, because Fernandez also escaped to Mexico, but Elias did the same. Got on a 20-foot boat, about a dozen people, and made it on his first try, escaping Cuba. Marlins lineup, you've seen Yelich overpowered by this lefty. Marcell Ozuna in the 2 spot. Giancarlo, what a night last night, and what a homestand so far. Casey McGee is slotted behind him. 14 RBIs for McGee. Jared Saltalamacchia. Jeff Baker gets a start at first base tonight. Echeverria, the shortstop. Donovan Solano, a start at second base. And Alvarez will be in the 9 spot. And here is Ozuna.
Well, we saw how tough Elias can be on
And he loses Ozuna. So a strikeout of Yelich, a walk to Ozuna. Here comes Stanton. Here comes Seattle's defense.
Well, let's check on that M's defense. Dustin Ackley, Abraham Almonte, and Michael Saunders in that outfield. Kyle Seager, Brad Miller. No introduction to Robinson Cano. Over first is Justin Smoke and Mike Zunino behind the plate.
Here is Stanton now. And of course, Stan was the focal point of just about everything in the ninth inning last night, whether to bunt or whether not to bunt, what Seattle was going to do on the mound. In fact, when the out was called at third base and the Marlins had runners at first and second, Lloyd McClendon, Seattle's manager, went to the mound. Remember, McClendon got to the mound before Redmond got to third to challenge the call. McClendon was going to instruct his pitcher to try to get Stanton to chase a pitch on the first pitch, and if he fell behind, to intentionally walk him.
I don't think right now in the major leagues there is a more impactful bat in anybody's lineup.
Here's the 2-1. It's in. This lefty Elias is sneaky fast.
Yeah, he's not afraid to go in, as you've noticed with right-handers, because he cuts that fastball too.
Counts 3-1. You got Ozuna at first, just underway in Miami. And Stanton swings over a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
This fastball had some cut on it. Yeah, it did, and they certainly are working him inside with that hard stuff.
Ozuna from first. Elias has a good move, and Ozuna is back in.
I think these three-game series against American League teams rely so much on scouting reports, advanced scouts.
Breaking ball. I'll tell you what, there wasn't a whole lot of advanced stuff about this Cuban lefty coming into the season. He has made 3 starts, 3 really nice starts, because he spent essentially 3 years in the minor leagues with Seattle. Was in Jackson, Double-A in Jackson, Mississippi last year, with a 3.18 ERA and 22 starts. Inside, Stanton walks, and Miami has runners first and second. And here comes Casey McGee.
So I would imagine, Rich, in this series, Marlins relying a lot on Joe Moeller, Marlins advanced scout who sees teams a week or two ahead of when the Marlins play them.
Then his approach in Milwaukee, sprayed the ball in Japan. He drove balls to right center, left center, in the gaps. And it's paid off. 350 at home, 217 on the road. You see his numbers with runners in scoring position. McGee into the gap, and it's caught there with Ackley cutting in front of Almonte. Crowd reacted like that was going a long way, but off the end of the bat, the only question was, would Almonte and Ackley avoid each other?
Yeah, it was headed in the right direction. It just wasn't on the barrel. Didn't get it all, so it gave the outfielders time to get under it. Ackley cutting in front of Almonte.
Remember, Ackley is an infielder who is out of the outfield because Seattle signed Robinson Cano, and Ackley a second baseman. Nick Franklin as well, another good bat, is going to have to find another place to play.
Yeah, last year started games in the outfield and at second, a balk's called.
A balk. Elias balks, and Ozuna ends up at third. Stanton ends up at second.
Let's see if he started There he starts right there and then stops. So very clear. No argument from the bench. Right now their pitching coach Rick Waits is headed out there. Waits, I'm sure, just trying to, okay, calm down. You got 2 outs. This is what you did. And move on from here.
Rick Waits looks like a pitching coach that belongs or maybe was in major leagues.
Yeah.
Actually looks like the skipper from major leagues.
Looks like the manager, yeah.
Lou.
I think he went out there and said, give him the heater.
Saltalamacchia now with runners at second and at third. There's 2 down. We're just underway. Roenis Elias. He catches the corner for strike 1. Saltalamacchia, a towering home run yesterday from the other side of the plate that Hit Tracker Online had at 429 feet. Still one of the longer home runs we've seen hit here.
Salty's done a pretty good job hitting lefties too, and the right side is usually a little weaker side for him, but he's gotten off to a 6 for 16, 375 start against left-handers.
Behind in the count, 0-2. Long look in, too long for Saltalamacchia, who was 2 for 3 last night. Both teams swung the bats well last night. Seattle had 11 hits. Miami had 13. And again, Elias and Mike Zunino not on the same page. Oh, 2. Swing and a miss, breaking ball. And it tied Saltalamacchia up. Miami leaves a couple in scoring position, underway and scoreless. You can see that coming. Henderson Alvarez getting ready to go in the second. Justin Smoke, Michael Saunders, Kyle Seager. Smoke stands in the cleanup spot, switch hitter. He was one of the big pieces Seattle got back from Texas in the Cliff Lee trade. Remember, Seattle originally traded to get Lee from the Phillies and then flipped him and sent him back through Texas, where he ended up back in Philadelphia. Smoke, a terrific college player and always one of the top prospects in the Rangers organization. Still trying to break loose in Seattle. 27-year-old. Up the middle. 2014. You've got party areas, suite rentals, special event nights, fundraisers. Marlins baseball in a variety of group packages. 305-480-2523. 305-480-2523. Or go to marlins.com/groups. Jeff Baker, Adeiny Echeverria, Donovan Solano against Roenis Elias. Elias misses down low. You see Guantanamo, and the first thing you think of is not a town where a guy would grow up playing baseball. But that's exactly where he was. It's, I think, as the crow flies,
about 500, a little over 500 miles from Miami.
That's not far at all. On a hot, Miller picks it and then gets the out at first base. Nice play by Brad Miller, Seattle shortstop. Not that many Crows have flown from Guantanamo to Miami.
Well, they could fly with what Elias had with him. All he had was a backpack when he arrived.
A couple other ball players were with them. You know, Adeiny Echeverria last night, Dave Hyde wrote a real nice piece in the Sun Sentinel about Elias, Echeverria. Obviously, Jose Fernandez's story everybody knows about, but people don't know a whole lot about Echeverria's story. And for Etch, it's the same thing. He took a chance, got on a 20-foot boat with about a dozen people he didn't know, and
it was his first chance.
It was his first chance, and he said it went as well as could be expected. There was no weather issue. They got to Mexico. Once he got to Mexico, he was able to settle in and get his feet under him and start his baseball career. Two and one to Echeverria. Etch drives it to right, hits it well down the line in the corner, and it's off the wall. Racing for second, a double for Echeverria. His fourth of the season. Just a terrific start for the Marlins shortstop. Etch, who just turned 25, is in scoring position.
Won't know how many times I can continue to say this, but he takes care of a high fastball. He's just stayed with the same approach, and even games that he hasn't gotten hits, he's hit the ball pretty hard, and a lot of times that'll get you out of the approach if you don't get base hits. But he stayed with it and drove that ball a long way to the opposite field.
So he's out in scoring position. Donovan Solano getting a start. Not a lot of at-bats for Solano this year. But this is not a bad guy to have in the lineup against a lefty like Elias.
Yeah, we saw how tough he was on Christian Yelich. So Dietrich sits, Garrett Jones sits for the time being, and Donovan Solano gets his first start of the year.
Elias misses in. And the count's 2-0. Solano in the 8th spot. Alvarez is on deck. Then Yelich. Home plate umpire Toby Basner talking to Seattle's dugout. They wanted to know where that 1-0 pitch missed, and the 2-0 pitch is up and out, and now it's 3-0. And you can see pitch number 2 was well in.
Yeah, he saw that nice play by the shortstop Brad Miller. We talked about him last night. One of the glaring differences in these two teams, the Mariners have made just 9 errors on the season. The Marlins have made 18. So they've made twice as many.
That's glaring. Solano takes a strike. 3-1. In fact, in the last 3 ball games, Miami's given up 6 unearned runs. Elias, 3-1 pitch. Solano drives it, hits it well. Almonte in full flight makes the catch. Echeverria tagging and getting to third, and now it's going to be up to Alvarez to try to keep the line moving or knock the run in. We want you to tweet your best fan photo using the hashtag FLFanPhoto for a chance to have your photo shown in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T.
See right there, she's taking a selfie, and she's going to tweet our AT&T fan photo.
She's already been on television, though, Tom. Alvarez swinging a miss.
Well, they found out that Alvarez is a pretty good hitter because he saw a breaking ball the first pitch.
Alvarez is 1 for 4 this year. And a wild swing, and he got the changeup. So he's got a breaking ball, changeup.
Well, they looked at the numbers and they said, hey, this guy was a 300 hitter last year. He was 9 for 30.
And he doesn't see anything straight. Alvarez strikes out, inning over. And Miami retired. 2 in the books. Pitchers duel so far. Class coach bus, which looks like a lot of fun. It's got VIP seating for up to 50. Email groups at marlins.com or call 305-480-2523 for more information on how you and your friends can travel in style to see the fish play. See, Tommy, we need that bus to come pick us up one night.
That'd be fun.
I have a feeling, though, we would not be in game shape by the time we got to the ballpark.
We could ride down with the fans.
There you go.
Prepare for the game.
Yeah, right. Dustin Ackley. Henderson Alvarez looks electric tonight. He's got 3 strikeouts through 2 innings. Ackley, Zunino, and then Elias. Ackley sporting quite the beard. Alvarez catches the outside corner. It's 0-2.
I'll tell you what, Alvarez has stayed knee-high or below with everything. The sinker and the changeup. Even that slow Ephus pitch to Cano.
Sinker and a flip. Alvarez is there from Baker. First out of the 3rd inning. This copyright telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Now Zunino, the former Florida Gator. Zunino hoping to make this his first full season in the big leagues. 52 games last year. And he already has a trophy case filled with impressive hardware. Got jammed by Alvarez, and McGee throws him out.
Yeah, I jokingly at the end of last inning said, hey, he's got no-hit stuff. Well, in the case of Henderson Alvarez, you can actually say that because he knows what that kind of stuff is like.
And we've seen that before, obviously. And Lloyd McClendon has seen that before. He was the hitting coach for the Detroit Tigers when the Tigers were here to finish off the season. And Alvarez took the mound, and everybody thought this was just going to be a go-through-the-motion game. And Alvarez threw the 5th no-hitter in Miami history. McClendon and I were talking behind the cage about that game. And he remembers just what you're watching right now, that Alvarez from the very start was down in the zone. Ball was moving. Pitch 1 is actually hidden by pitch 2.
Well, that's like an outstanding dartboard there. So far, Lloyd McClendon has seen 11 2/3 innings from Henderson Alvarez without allowing a hit.
Wow. That one looked like it cut right across the plate. Fox Tracks will let us know.
And you have a young pitcher who is stepping in to hit for the first time at this level.
That did catch the plate. High chopper. And Elias darting down the line trying to avoid that thing from dropping on his head. It's a foul ball.
And by the way, Henderson Alvarez, a belated happy birthday. Henderson turned 24 yesterday.
Well, we talked about Elias and escaping Cuba. Alvarez is from Venezuela, and obviously there's plenty of violence and awful things happening there. So much so that Alvarez moved his family out of Venezuela. His wife Marilee, and remember when he pitched the no-hitter, she was pregnant with their daughter Brianna. He brought his family to South Florida. First professional plate appearance. Breaking ball misses down low, and that's, there's the oddity in that note. One of our baseball historians, Ken Lee, noting that as a American League minor leaguer, you don't get to hit as a pitcher. AA, AAA is when National League pitchers get to hit when they're facing another National League opponent. If you're an American League prospect at AA or AAA, you don't hit at all. And
well, this young kid's making him work.
McGee across the diamond in time. Henderson Alvarez has been dynamite for 3 innings. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, thank you very much. We thought we took one more look last night at the play that was overturned, and to give you a little bit of a wider picture of instant replay so far, just about 3 weeks into this season. We all know the play by now. Marlins got the call. It was overturned at third base. What are the numbers so far? 110 plays have been looked at. How many, what percent have been overturned after looking at replay? Look at that, 38%. Some of these now, admittedly, because of this rule, which is this transfer, which is not a fair shake to the umpires here. And according to Ken Rosenthal's story yesterday, he says, according to his sources, MLB and Players Union, that they may look at this one more time. And in fact, he thinks they may look at a common sense approach as well to looking at the play at the plate and the old transfer, sort of like they used to do. Are we going back to pre-replay? Back to you guys.
Elias misses to Christian Yelich. FoxSports.com has that article that Ken Rosenthal wrote. Players Union and Major League Baseball executives meeting early in the week. Tony La Russa will be involved, and there's two things they'll talk about. One is the transfer rule, getting back to the, as Craig pointed out, a more common sense approach, but as well the catchers blocking the plate. There's still some confusion with catchers, managers, umpires, and Tony La Russa suggested that catchers and managers and everybody get on the same page, clarify that, simplify the rule for everyone. That one is hit hard and deep. Almonte back, not going to get it off the wall, and it bounces back towards the outfield. Yelich puts his head down, and he's chugging for third. He's in there.
Boy, that ball was scorched by Christian Yelich, and I think really fooled Abraham Almonte, who has terrific speed in center field. The ball jumped over his head. And I think Yelich, as he headed to second base, was thinking double. He was going to hold up. Now watch this. A little trouble picking the ball up, and he turns it on right away. It'll be a double, and then an error charge to Almonte.
We've got Brett Butler mic'd up.
Hey, on the man. Attaboy. Nice lead. Nice lead. Attaboy. Great read right there. Great read.
Great read, meaning great read on the outfielder not being able to pick up the ball and taking an extra 90 feet.
Ozuna now looking for an RBI with the middle infield back, nobody out.
13-game hitting streak now for Christian Yelich.
Yelich is going to get a double and an error on the drop by Almonte. So a double and an E8 and a big opportunity with Ozuna, Stanton, and McGee all lined up.
There's only one other National League player also with a 13-game streak, Adrian Gonzalez of the Dodgers.
Seager even at the bag at third, so is Smoke at first. And Elias almost sent one to the screen. The count is 2-1. Elias is kind of like a left-handed Henderson Alvarez.
Boy, they both have terrific stuff, and he's actually a year older. Elias 25. We mentioned Henderson just turned 24.
Both appear to be really good athletes, have a variety of pitches. Not a real conventional delivery. Counts 2-2. And on a night where Alvarez is electric, that's a big run sitting at third base right now. I know it's just the bottom of the third. Outfield very deep for Ozuna.
Let's see if Elias goes to that pitch he went to when he struck out Saltalamacchia. Over that breaking ball, that hard slider down and in.
His slider, according to scouts and Seattle folk, that slider, that curveball, a better pitch than his changeup, at least when he arrived on the scene. He busted him in.
He went with a good cut fastball in.
Giancarlo on deck, full count. Nobody out. Miami trying to get on the board first, and they have a great opportunity. Ozuna strikes out. That's been tough for Ozuna this year with runners in scoring position. That's been one of his struggles. Ozuna just 3 for 20. And here is Stanton.
And to explain a little bit about Mike Redmond's decision last night, that was one of the things he factored in. Whether you like it or not, it was one of the things he said. He knew that Ozuna had struggled with runners in scoring position, and he had a pretty good feeling that they were going to walk Stanton anyway, and they're going to walk him here. They're not taking any chances, and I think we'll probably, unfortunately, see more of this.
As we noted back in the first inning, his feeling about they were going to walk Stanton anyways, whether first base was open or not, was true. Lloyd McClendon was on the way out. Hey, waste a pitch.
Now, he didn't know for a fact. Mike Redmond did.
But he suspected it, and
he thought about it.
And McClendon admitted that with runners first and second, they were going to waste a pitch or two, and felt that they were going to fall behind him and just walk him.
So he's walked here with the left-hander out there. Red has Casey McGee, the right-handed bat, hitting behind Stanton, as opposed to when he had Garrett Jones in the lineup.
McGee produced a fly ball in the gap in left center field. That would give Miami a run if he could duplicate that. The intentional walk for Elias is his third walk of the ball game. And McGee takes a strike. 84 miles an hour. Oh, 1 up the middle into center field. Casey McGee, 15 RBIs already. Miami got a total of, I believe it was 44 RBIs all year last year from their third baseman.
How about this? There's been absolutely so much talk, and rightfully so, of Giancarlo Stanton with his 26 RBIs leading the major leagues. Casey McGee, with that base hit and RBI, now is tied with Adrian Gonzalez for third in the National League.
And that was part of the plan. Get somebody in front and get somebody behind Stanton that could hold their own. And McGee has done that. Saltalamacchia now. He's tied up. Elias struck him out back in the first. Miami has their run, and still with an opportunity to add on. There's just one out. "54 pitches already. Anderson Alvarez has thrown just 32. And Seattle needs Elias to get deep on this road trip. This is game 6 of the trip. Lloyd McClendon's gone to his bullpen already 16 times. Breaking ball misses outside. Talked about the production of the third baseman last year, Tommy. Here's what McGee has done already this year.
Yeah, last year just the 3 home runs. Now Casey McGee is yet to homer, but the production is there with the RBIs and 5 doubles already as well. That has been a nice move. He's played a solid defensive third base as well. That changeup. Haven't seen a whole lot of those from Elias.
Saltalamacchia just looking for contact right now. Seattle not holding McGee on at first. So he'll have a good run at anybody trying to turn a double play. 2-2. Well, there's contact, and it was the 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Albert Pujols hit number 498.
Well, it's been the quietest I've ever seen a hitter creeping close to 500 home runs. He had 497 last night, 498 today.
Breaking ball, ground ball. Miller out there. Cano's turn. Got him. Robinson Cano with a quick turn, narrowly avoiding the slide of McGee. 1-0 Fish.
Remember, it's his job to drive you, and it's not for you to score right here with no outs. Gotta be sure with no outs. You got the big donkey.
It's good stuff. Talking about Giancarlo Stanton coming up. He has made a real nice impact on this ball club, from base running to outfield defense to bunting.
Yeah, in many ways.
Abraham Almonte, top of the order for Seattle. Henderson Alvarez through 3 innings. He struck out 3. Everything else has been a ground ball out. That to right's hit well. Stanton is back, reaches up, makes the catch. And that's why USC wanted him as a wide receiver corner.
I think you and I will admit, as you watch Stanton get a terrific break on this, that's why he was able to chase this one down. You and I talk to scouts all the time. I think for the most part, they're pretty good. But I'll tell you, I talked to a scout, I believe it was in Washington, who graded Stanton as a below-average outfielder. And I was shocked.
Really? Now, I would grade him as a below-average outfielder in spring, the last 2 springs, and April when he was hurt. But healthy, I think he's been terrific out there.
I think his jumps are fine. He certainly has a strong arm.
Well, let's in scouting parlance, let's cross-check, because
yes,
they have cross-checkers that go in and double-check scouts' work. So we'll cross-check.
We'll check with one of our favorites who we know is going to be in Atlanta.
Miller at the plate, just watching him for one game, is the type of guy, old school guy, no batting gloves, real stirrups, wears them low, pants high.
Born in Orlando.
There you go.
Right, you can talk to Jeff Baker about Clemson. Both went to Clemson.
Baker was the all-time home run leader. Miller won an ACC batting title there. The fly ball is going to find foul ground and the seats. It's a stable of young hitters that Seattle has accrued. Just about all of them are college kids. The lone exception, I believe, is Lake Brantley's Nick Franklin, who just got called up. That is a strikeout. Boy, Alvarez is dealing. 2 outs here in the 4th. Jose's heroes. Jose was out on the field with some of his heroes today. You can join him. Pick up the new Jose Heroes full season ticket plan. $6 a game. Get free Jose Heroes t-shirts, K-cards, and more. Secure your seats at marlins.com/Jose Heroes. Ticket plans start just over $6 a game. Robinson Cano, who turned a very smooth double play despite having McGee bearing down on him to finish off Miami in the bottom of the 3rd.
Well, that's what's helped him win a couple of Gold Gloves, Cano, and he is smooth around the second base bag.
Alvarez looking down at the mound, and that one tailed away. Count 2-1 to Cano. Cano hasn't been spectacular. He's been getting on base. We saw in the Geico quote last night, he hasn't been getting a whole lot to hit in his mind.
I tell you, he's been spectacular against Henderson Alvarez.
Yes, he has. Sprays that one McGee's way. Another ground ball out. Another 1-2-3 inning. Henderson Alvarez has faced the minimum through 4. Right now, and that's a live shot. Fernandez accepting the award. This is a special day for Fernandez and a special day for one of his youngest fans, a 13-year-old. Got some flowers. If you have followed this story, a young lady with Down syndrome who made a incredible video, posted it on Instagram. It caught Jose's eye. And Jose invited her back, has presented her with flowers on this day. Jeff Baker, a fly ball, a towering one to center field. Almonte is back at about 415 feet from home plate. He hauls it in.
I'll tell you what, it's been a tough start for Jeff Baker, but he has swung the bat pretty well. That ball about 415 feet away. A little too much hang time allowed Almonte to get under it and make the catch.
Echeverria now. Breaking ball in the dirt to Echeverria. For Miami, Roenis Elias hasn't been as sharp as Henderson Alvarez, but he's been pretty good. The Marlins got their lone run in the third. Echeverria doubled in the second. And Elias stranded him out there, getting Solano and Alvarez to end that inning.
With that base hit that Echeverria picked up in the second inning, he's 8 for 17 this year against left-handed pitching.
Good changeup.
And the contrast to that, Rich, Casey McGee, when he came into his at-bat, when he had the RBI single, Casey McGee had been 1 for 17 against left-handed pitching.
And the Marlins saw a ton of lefties in their opening homestand. Remember, 4 of the first 5 starters they faced this year were lefties.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, if you get off to a bad start, it might not be the difference if there's a lefty or a righty out there. You just aren't swinging the bat well. All of a sudden, the Marlins saw all those lefties.
Echeverria in the hole into left field. It's a 2-hit night for Miami's shortstop. And here comes Solano.
Well, remember how he hit the pitch up and away to right field? This time, Elias tries to come in with that cut fastball. He shortens up his swing and pulls it past his shortstop Miller.
You're down near the bottom of the order. There's 1 out. You've got a good hit and run guy at the plate in Solano, but if things go sideways on you, you could end up with Alvarez leading off in the 5th. So how does that affect a manager's thinking here?
Well, one thing you hate, you don't want to make a decision and put a negative thought in and think of the negative result. When you come up with something, you want that positive result. But on the other hand, you don't want Henderson Alvarez to lead an inning off. It's easier for us up here to make that decision.
Well, Mike Redmond leaning out, making sure that Brett Butler sees the signs. Now the signs go across the diamond.
Counts 0-2. Nothing on here. You're not going to put a hit and run on with the count 0-2.
We told you that Elias does have a really good move. He's shown it once. To the plate with a breaking ball that didn't come far enough. It's 1-2. A run in the bottom of the third. Miami a 1-0 lead. Seattle does not have a hit. Miami has 4. There's the move. Balks are not reviewable by replay, in case you were wondering.
I'm okay with that.
That's really close.
That's what you call a balk move, which a lot of left-handers have. They get away with it. That's very close.
When that right foot comes towards the plate like that, you give him credit in that he was still able to make a good throw to first, but that's right on the border. Solano turns on one. Count stays at 1-2.
Given the fact that Donovan Solano has not had a lot of playing time, he looks very comfortable. He drove the ball well to center field, his first AB, and turned on that pitch.
Up the middle, center field, base hit. Echeverria thinking about it. Boy, did Almonte close quickly on that ball. And he holds Echeverria at second. Solano, 2 good at bats, Tommy, and he, as you pointed out, hadn't had a whole lot of swings.
No, it's good to see. Donovan can do a lot of things at the plate. It's a great lesson for young outfielders watching Almonte. It helps certainly to have a strong arm, but if you get good jumps and charge balls the way he did, you're going to keep runners from taking that extra base. And I'll tell you what, Echeverria was thinking about going to third until he saw Almonte close in on that ball.
Here's Alvarez. You got Yelich on deck. Alvarez can handle the bat, as Tommy pointed out. Right around 300 as a hitter last year. Shortens the bunt, drops it down, first base side. Smoke has it and will tag him out. Runners move up 90 apiece. Echeverria at third, Solano at second. And now it's lefty on lefty with Elias against Yelich, who doubled back in the third.
Yeah, Alvarez does such a nice job in every facet of the game. Nice bunt there.
Two more runs wait now there, and Elias with a breaking ball misses away.
Yelich didn't see it last time up, but remember that first AB, he saw Elias drop down a couple of times. A little three-quarter, a little sidearm.
And a rip at a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. If you're just happening by, Roenis Elias escaped from Cuba, much like that man, Danny Echeverria and Jose Fernandez. He's starting for Seattle. Henderson Alvarez on the mound for the Fish. He's been terrific. Breaking ball misses in. Alvarez has faced the minimum through 4. Yelich scored the only run of the ball game after doubling in the third. Casey McGee chased him home with an RBI hit. Sweeping curveball, and it's 3-1.
There's that pitch again from a little different angle, from more of a three-quarter delivery.
Ozuna's on deck. Yelich just 22. It pops out of Zunino's glove. Here comes Echeverria. He's going to score. Solano to third. Yelich down to first.
Pass ball for Mike Zunino, and that's a big run. Good AB by Christian Yelich as he takes ball 4, and Zunino just could not handle a cut fastball. So pass ball all the way allows the Marlins to get their second run. The other reason that's big, we've talked about Ozuna, who's hit the ball so well, but Marcel just 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position. It's an area that he struggled in.
Throw to first, and Yelich dives back in. Ozuna has been pretty much even versus lefties and righties. Over 300 against lefties, 340 against righties. He's been well out in front of that off-speed pitch from Elias. 2-0 Miami.
Because he's been out front, he's seen that off-speed pitch. Saw that changeup again from Elias.
Doubled last night. He's walked and struck out in this one. Elias about to throw pitch number 79. Ozuna, sharp ground ball. Seager, the short way to get the out, but Miami gets a run. Stretches their lead to 2-0.
Ever heard. It's called The Chicken Runs at Midnight, dealing with his daughter Amy, who succumbed to brain cancer a few years before the Marlins won their championship, but she's linked. Listen to Rich as he returns here to Miami.
I looked up at that sign, 1997 World Champions, and it was like it was yesterday.
Amy, forever linked to that story. We'll tell you about it. It's way too detailed to go into here during the middle of the ball game, guys, but we'll get into it tomorrow on Marlins Live. We've had a chance in the past to visit with Rich, and a lot of people never heard this story. It involves Craig Counsell. We'll have it tomorrow for you, Marlins Live. Back to you.
Thank you, Craig, and we'll be watching. And if you know your Marlins history, you know that story. If you've not heard that story, you want to be with us tomorrow at 12:30. Here tonight, Henderson Alvarez has been magnificent. Justin Smoak is at the plate. 1-1 pitch. Bottom drops out of that 94-mile-an-hour, whatever it was, whether it was a two-seamer or that power change grip.
Rich, when you and I talked to Chuck Hernandez before the game, Marlins pitching coach, we talked to him about Alvarez. And he admitted that Henderson Alvarez, his first few starts, making his fourth start tonight, had not been real good. And he said he's got to have that good power sinker. He's got to have that changeup, especially with all the left-handed bats that the Mariners have in the lineup.
Well, 8 ground ball outs now, and with 1 out here in the top of the 5th, he's got Michael Saunders and Kyle Seager. This is a Seattle lineup that can swing the bat, and especially, as you pointed out, really tough on right-handed starters. They can wear you out with the switch hitters in Almonte and Smoak, and then line up all those really good lefties: Miller, Cano, Saunders, Seager, Ackley.
They have so many good lefties. They don't have Corey Hart in the lineup tonight.
And they've got Zunino hitting 8. Bouncer, Alvarez pounces on it, flips to first. 2 outs.
9 ground ball outs.
So Alvarez working on the gum. And here comes Seager, who struck out back in the 2nd. The funny thing about Alvarez is that his first 3 starts for Miami, very uneven. His last start was his best. He gave up 3 runs, but he gave up 12 hits in 6 innings. So as we pointed out, the whip is high, the walks and hits per innings pitched. The on-base percentage of his opponents coming in at .444. But nobody has reached tonight.
And I think we've seen a little bit of his athletic ability. He has Gold Glove potential. I mean, in order to win a Gold Glove, I don't know if this is right, you have to win 12, 15 games too. But he has the potential to be a Gold Glove pitcher.
Bouncer, it's Baker. Henderson Alvarez, perfect through 5, a 9-pitch inning. Go through the gallery, pick the big moments. Giancarlo Stanton had one last night, a walk-off grand slam. He's coming up. He'll lead it off. Casey McGee and Jared Saltalamacchia against Roenis Elias, 25-year-old Cuban. Stanton walked in the first inning. That one he earned. And I guess he earned the intentional walk in the third inning from last night's exploits.
He earned it by pure reputation.
A 1-pitch. Fastball in when Elias has challenged Stanton. It's been with fastballs in under his hands. Breaking ball, pulled. Nice play by Seager. And he gets the out at first. Marlins got a run on a pass ball in the fourth with a little help from Brett Butler.
Okay, Hatchie, look for the ball in the dirt right here. Look for the ball in the dirt. That's what you got to look for right there. You got to look for that too.
Boy, expect that. Expect the ball in the dirt, a pass ball. You'll always get that good jump.
Here's McGee now. Big hit by McGee in the third, especially after Stanton was intentionally walked. 15 RBIs now on the season for the 31-year-old out of Santa Cruz, California.
You know, when you look at the leaders in the National League, certainly Stanton with his 26, Mark Trumbo of the Diamondbacks with 18. Then there's Adrian Gonzalez and Casey McGee with 15.
And that was the hope when Mike Hill, Dan Jennings in the offseason tried to piece it back together. Find guys that could hit in front or behind Stanton and could be productive. And McGee has fit that bill this year.
And you mentioned it, and I think a lot of people forget it, in front of and behind Stanton, because with the start that Yelich has got with Ozuna or Dietrich, whoever's hitting that number 2 spot, they've been doing a good job too.
And the way you measure that is you look at the number of at-bats Stanton has had with runners in scoring position. Already this year, Stanton with runners in scoring position, 11 for 25. Bouncer, Cano behind the bag. Nice easy flip.
I'll look at it another way. On base percentage for Dietrich, 421, for Ozuna, 358, and over 400 for Yelich.
Fox Sports Supports is proud to collaborate with Stand Up to Cancer, groundbreaking initiative created to accelerate innovative cancer research that gets new therapies to patients quickly in order to save lives. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. Saltalamacchia now bounced into a double play and has struck out. Here tonight in Miami, halfway through, the Marlins have a 2-0 lead, and Henderson Alvarez has been dominant. In the air to center. Almonte Collin makes the catch. Alvarez comes back out for the 6th. Seattle still looking for their first base runner of the night. just $20 per person. You and your group get a game ticket in the Clevelander, a free drink, food specials, maybe a Stanton home run. Happy hour begins when the gates open and is restricted to guests 21 and older, and you can dance the night away. Marlins.com/groups. Oh, Tommy, look at party going on out there.
Yeah, it's happening tonight.
It's happening on the mound for Henderson Alvarez, who faces Dustin Ackley, Mike Zunino, and in the pitcher spot for Seattle. First pitch liner, center field. It's a base hit, the first hit of the night for Seattle.
Well, you think about it, you go back to Lloyd McClendon. He'd seen 14 no-hit innings thrown by Henderson Alvarez. He finally saw somebody get a base hit. Remember, McClendon was the hitting coach for the Tigers that last day of the season, seeing that no-hitter.
So Ackley has a hit. McClendon has seen something that took a while from the end of last year all the way till mid-April. Got to be careful with Zunino. He's got the power to ride it out of here. He's got a couple doubles and 3 homers already this year.
Now remember the last start for Alvarez, 12 hits and he walked 3 in 6 innings. So 15 base runners. He seemed like he was pitching out of the stretch the whole game. And this is the first time he's had to work out of the stretch tonight. Elias at 90 pitches, but he's on deck, and there's nobody warming up in that Seattle bullpen.
Breaking ball misses away. Remember, we were talking about the number of times Seattle's had to go to their bullpen on this road trip. 4 games in Texas will do that to you. And then last night's wild ride as well.
Fortunately, the Marlins only have 2 games in Texas.
Zunino clobbers one. Each team in interleague seems to have one of those 2-2 series. For Seattle, their 2-2 series is against Atlanta.
Yeah, the Marlins play 2 games in Texas in the middle of June, and then the Rangers come to Miami August 19th and 20th.
And that's not the 2-2 with your natural rival like the Marlins have with the Rays. Zunino has pulled a lot of balls into the seats in this series.
Alvarez would like that power sinker hit on the ground out to short right about now.
Ackley's at first. 1-2. Hard smash. McGee. Solano. Double play.
Or to third. Well, Zunino had a good at bat and some good swings, and he hit that ball sharply. But the sinker got in on him a little bit. Nice soft hands by McGee and a good turn by Solano. Elias, I think, saw more pitches than any hitter for the Mariners. He saw 8 pitches in that first at bat.
Yes, he did. Bails out on that swing and just gets a piece. Like the changeup at 88.
Yes, changeup has kind of fluctuated from 88 to 92.
It's like a weather forecast. Lots of ground balls. Elias hustling down the line. Echeverria. Terrific play. Throwing out his countryman at first. To the Marlins and all your favorite Florida sports teams with the Fox Sports Florida girls. Join the conversation online with Jordana and Annalie by liking them on Facebook, following them on Twitter and Instagram.
Thumbs up, Rich. Thumbs up.
Roenis Elias. Still looking good on the mound. Miami has just the 2 runs. They really haven't hit him hard. And he's got Jeff Baker, Danny Echeverria, and Donovan Solano. In fact, the hardest ball Miami has hit was Baker's fly ball out back in the 4th. That went about 410 feet.
How about this last out? We've talked about the ability athletic-wise. Look at Alvarez, starts to go, and then he goes, no, I got a great shortstop. Has Gold Glove hands out there in a Danny Echeverria, and he lets it go. A lot of pitchers don't have that kind of reaction.
So here's Baker, his 3rd at bat of the night. He's bounced out and then hit the mammoth fly ball out. Almonte is standing about 385 feet from home plate in center field. Baker fouls it at the plate. Look how deep he is. There are some center fielders that like to play shallow and go back on the ball. Others that like to play deep and then come in. Pitchers, if you ask them, probably 9 out of 10 would like the guys that are shallow and cut off the balls in front of them. Baker goes down. An 0 for 3 night. 1 out here in the 6th.
Yeah, because percentages tell you there are a lot more balls hit in front of center fielders that drop in front than balls that go over their head. And there's a time when you see outfielders play deeper to try to cut off balls late in the game, depending on the score.
Echeverria is doubled and singled.
Echeverria, Rich, has already had 7 multi-hit games this year.
And he's got another one here.
And another 3-hit game.
Miller got in the hole, but Echeverria runs well, and he beats it out easily. An infield hit with 1 out.
We've seen the kind of throwing arm that Miller has, but doesn't matter if it's Brad Miller or Troy Tulowitzki. They're not going to throw out Echeverria on that play.
Now Solano with 1 out. Donovan Solano getting his first start. Not a lot of at-bats. He was 1 for 7 coming in. He's lined out and hit a sharp single to center. He's had 2 very good at-bats.
Echeverria has already had 3 3-hit games and 1 4-hit game this year.
Solano, and just wide of the bag and down the line. His brother Jonathan still in AAA with the Nationals. Donovan was in AAA for about 3 hours. Was told that he was being sent down, and then Ed Lucas got hit in the hand. And just like that, Solano was back on the big club.
Boy, a lot of minor league games in the Cardinals organization. Over 750 minor league games in the St. Louis organization.
Runner goes. Good jump. Solano, it's a fair ball. He puts it in play. Seager throws him out. Cano and Echeverria chatting it up there at second base.
Well, I think a guy like Cano, who saw Echeverria a little bit when Cano was a Yankee and Echeverria was with Toronto. But certainly middle infielders appreciate other middle infielders.
Alvarez, center field, falls, base hit. Echeverria coming. The throw in there. Henderson Alvarez.
Well, we told you he'd do a little bit of everything. Not only on the mound, fielding his position, making pitches, but swinging the bat as well. A little bit off the end of the bat, and that was probably the good thing about that, because he dropped it in front of Almonte.
And of course, tonight we have the advantage of having Brett Butler all mic'd up for plays just like this.
Come on, come on. Go, 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 go.
He's aggressive. You know, it's one thing when a third base coach tells you to go. It's another thing when he tells you to go and also lets you know it's going to be close. And you really better
That burner turns on a little bit more.
Step on it.
They tell you to be ready to slide.
Yelich tonight against this tough lefty. 1 for 2 with a walk. The hit was a double. In Brett Butler's language, he juiced it to left center field. Yelich actually ended up at third base. Almonte bobbled it and picked up an error on the play. Seattle has the only error of the night.
And that double extended the hitting streak of Christian Yelich to 13 games.
He's got 21 hits in those 13 games. It's a pretty good pitch. Elias thought he had a strike. That's a strike. Marcell Ozuna on deck. The 3-2 is down low. Alvarez trots into second. Henderson Alvarez on the swing. Let's take a look at the swing and his reaction to it.
His hands, he's flicking his hands because he hit that ball off the end of the bat. So thank goodness for batting gloves for Henderson Alvarez.
And he didn't look on that last play. He was running on a 3-2 with 2 outs. It didn't look like he was in any pain or discomfort. Yelich walks, and that's nice for the fish. It brings Ozuna up with runners at first and second. Elias is not shy. I mean, he has challenged hitters tonight. He is not a crafty lefty.
Well, 107 pitches, and he has shown a really nice assortment of pitches. Good live cut fastball, some change-ups, hard breaking ball.
Danny Farquhar in the bullpen, local kid. Ball and a strike and 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Miami has added a run. Henderson Alvarez with an RBI single. A lot of the quotes that we read last year about Jose Fernandez, we've read this year in preparation for this game with Elias, in that a guy that gets on a boat, takes his life in his hands to escape a country, not going to be intimidated when he gets to a place like this.
All right, he's getting Ozuna to chase his pitch. Yeah, I think it's a little different mindset for a a young kid like Elias as opposed to a kid raised in the United States going to summer ball, playing on travel clubs.
Ozuna, a rocket to left, gone in a hurry. 3-run shot, splashdown in the pool, the Clevelander, and Miami cracks it open.
Well, Elias went to the well too often, or I shouldn't say went to the pool too often, because that's what Ozuna found. He went with that fastball again, but remember, he got him to chase one up in the zone. The one that Ozuna just hit was more of a belt-high fastball, and he crushed it.
6-0, third of the season.
10 straight games now the Marlins have homered.
Pitching change. We'll watch the homer and see where it landed when we return. Difference here. Watch the swing and watch the exit speed.
Belt high fastball. Crushed into the Clevelander. Look at the guy in the striped tank top right there. Now watch him. Cannonball!
And now he's toweling off. He's got the ball. And Stanton comes to the plate, and he faces Danny Farquhar. The girlfriend, his lady friend, has the ball, and he's drying off. That one went right into the pool. Ozuna still has this bat in his hand. He doesn't want to lose that feeling.
No, he doesn't. His third home run of the year. 4-game hitting streak for him now. And as I mentioned, the Marlins have homered now in 10 straight games. The Marlins, second in the National League in batting average, second in the National League in runs.
Stanton takes a strike. He didn't think so. And you can see where it was. Right on the borderline. Breaking ball. Farquhar strikes him out. A swing and a miss. An RBI single by Henderson Alvarez was the appetizer, and the main course in the bottom of the 6th. Seafood. Surfs up in the Clevelander. He has the end of it.
Pedro's got the baseball, Rich. Let me just show you here. It was in the Louis Vuitton bag, already zipped up. And he pulled, there it is, there's the ball. Now, what got into you to jump into the pool? It did land on a fly in the pool.
It was just a reaction. I noticed that everybody hesitated to jump inside the pool, and I just threw myself in, hold my phone up in the air, and caught the ball.
That was smart.
It was a good reaction, and, it was a moment, I'm here to represent Jose Fernandez from the Marlins. Marlins #1, baby.
No bathing suit. You got the long jeans on.
All my shoes is just wet. I know. I at least have a towel for Cleveland. They hooked me up.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it.
You got the ball. Now, did anybody else think about it? It'd be tough to get any more interviews here, but no one else here. It's packed. Jumped in except Pedro from Miami. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, and there it is. That, I think, is the first official splashdown into the water.
I hope the cell phone still works as well.
Cell phone works, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
That's the first official ball that's gone directly into the pool, that's landed on the fly. It's not an easy angle to get it in there, but it was such a line drive that it shot right through. High pop-up. Baker settles under it. Makes the catch, and Almonte is out #1 here in the 7th inning. Tomorrow, Seattle and Miami finish this 3-game series. Bring the family out to the West Plaza pregame. Easter egg hunt, Tommy Hutton. Kids get a pair of Adani Echeverria sunglasses. We actually got a pair for the ballgame tonight. And the kids can also run the bases. It's courtesy of Fox Sports Florida, those sunglasses. The Diamond Dash is after the game. It's a 1 o'clock start, and the Pepsi 4 for $50 4-pack is in play on a family Sunday. So a lot going on at the ballpark tomorrow. Easter egg hunt on the West Plaza, 4 for $50 4-pack. Ticket-wise, brought to you by Pepsi to get in. 1:10 start. Brad Miller's up. Alvarez has been dominant. The only blemish tonight, a Dustin Ackley single to center in the 6th inning.
Well, he's done it all. He's gotten himself an RBI single. He's pitched 1-hit ball through 6 1/3. He's made some nice defensive plays. Ozuna turns around and makes, that's a natural turn for him. He does that all the time. I know we see it and we thought, well, he's taking a wrong route, but he does that all the time. I don't know if you would teach that. I don't know if Preston would teach that to young kids. He looks over that shoulder and that turns around the other way. We got to check with Brett Butler on that.
I don't know that growing up in the Dominican Republic that Ozuna ran many post patterns as a kid, but that's similar to a ball over your head that you got to turn and catch. Here's Cano now. Well, the Marlins and their fans getting a chance to see Robinson Cano for the first time.
Cano standing behind the batting cage. There was a group of fans. He was signing autographs before the game. Talking with the hitting instructor with the Mariners, Howard Johnson. And we talked about Cano and his influence on some of the young hitters, especially the left-handed hitters that the Mariners have. And he said he's been tremendous with them.
There's a lot of left-handed hitters to have an influence on. Cano, Crenchland, right field deep. Stanton back. Should have room. Does have room. Just one measly hit for Seattle through 7 innings. Henderson Alvarez. Looking like he did against Detroit on that great day to end 2013. his first win. All right, the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to hashtag FLFanPhoto. A chance to be shown in a future broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Guitar Dude.
Guitar Dude, all right.
Farquhar flips over to first in time to get Casey McGee.
I would imagine a few names on the pass list for Danny Farquhar, born in Pembroke Pines, went to Archbishop McCarthy High School. So it's always fun for local guys to pitch in front of friends and family. Good easy delivery from Farquhar, cutters, slider, good fastball.
Saltalamacchia is 0 for 3. His first AB from this side of the plate.
Big shift on too with Salty up there.
And a pitch that I don't know how it missed him, but apparently it did. That is a reviewable play, whether a player is hit or not by a pitch. Farquhar up. Two and one. Another home run tonight for Miami. Marcell Ozuna, a 3-run shot into the pool, directly into the pool in the Clevelander. It did not disrupt any of the festivities out there.
It's going to take a lot to disrupt the festivities out there, even when you and I broadcast from out there.
It's because we're part of the festivities. Farquhar thought he had a strikeout. You saw him leap off the mound. There they are. There are the festivities, Tommy.
Yeah, but when you and I broadcast from out there, those festivities are behind us.
Well, I remember last year when you got body painted, that was part of the festivities.
That was after hours, though.
That's right. Jeff Baker now. Baker is 0 for 3. The damage for the Marlins. Bottom of the order. Echeverria 3 hits. Solano has swung the bat well. Alvarez drove in a run. And of course, top of the order, the double by Yelich. He's walked twice. And Ozuna's 3-run homer. Baker's fly ball down the right field line, sending Saunders into the corner, and it's out of play.
Rich, the Braves getting another solid outing from Irvin Santana. Have a 3-1 lead against the Mets in New York, top of the 7th inning, with Santana 6 innings so far. He's given up just 4 hits and 1 run.
Danny Farquhar out of Pembroke Pines. Baker hits another mammoth fly ball to center field.
You got to be kidding me.
He has hit 2 balls that have totaled about 820 feet, and both have been outs.
That's a tough night. You do everything right. You try to stay back. You don't try to roll over and pull a ball. And 2 balls. That one even further than the first. The first one was 415, and that one was about 417. Right at the base of the center field fence.
Here's Echeverria, 3 for 3 night for Echeverria. Couple singles and a double.
How about this? We talked about Alvarez having his birthday last night. Echeverria Tuesday celebrated a birthday, so a couple of April birthday guy is doing a good job in this one tonight.
Oh, 1. Farquhar getting in on Echeverria. Of course, like cold hard fact. 0 for 9 coming in, 3 for 3 tonight. Swing and a miss. Farquhar up with a fastball. Down goes Etch. 6-0.
Anderson Alvarez working this one tonight. He's fielded his position. Power sinkers, changeups. Marlins were able to get on the scoreboard. Casey McGee with an RBI single. How about in the 4th inning? Pass ball. The Marlins get another run. It's 2-0, and Alvarez was continuing to cruise. In the 6th inning, there's the first hit of the ball game for Seattle, and their only hit so far by Dustin Ackley. An RBI for Henderson Alvarez, and then a big shot, home run number 3, splash down into the Clevelander for Marcell Ozuna. It's been that kind of night. It's been fun.
And Alvarez has done it on an economy of pitches, as you can see. 76 now. With a 6-0 lead, Justin Smoke does just that. Smoked it just wide of the foul line.
You know, you look at matchups, you don't see too many with an interleague game. But Robinson Cano, who flied out to end last inning, is 0 for 3 tonight. Cano came into the game 6 for 11 with a couple of home runs off Henderson Alvarez.
Smoke has bounced out twice. And this one gobbled up by Solano. Nice night by Solano out there, both defensively and with a bat.
It really is. His first start of the year. He had not gotten a lot of opportunities, and it's good to see him get a chance out there and make some nice plays and have some good ABs.
Well, it gives Mike Redmond the confidence that when he runs into a lefty again, rather than have Baker out there at second and Garrett Jones at first, he can slide Baker over to first. You saw Baker had good swings against the lefty, and Solano's had nice at bats tonight as well. Saunders 0 for 2. Alvarez missing down low.
Marlins will see one left-hander in that series in Atlanta. They'll get Julio Teheran Monday. Alex Wood, the lefty, on Tuesday. And then Aaron Harang.
Aaron Harang. Echeverria is there and makes the catch. Aaron Harang has been flirting with no hitters since the season started, it seems like.
And the Braves on Monday will get Tom Kohler. On Tuesday we'll get Jose Fernandez and Nathan Eovaldi on Wednesday.
All three of the Brave starters, Teheran, Wood, and Harang, have ERAs of under 2. Teheran 1.93, Wood 1.67, Harang 0.70.
Well, early on for the Braves, that's certainly been a strong point in an area because of Tommy John surgeries they did not think would be a strong point. But Harang, Irvin Santana is pitching another good one tonight. The starting pitchers have done a great job for Freddie Gonzalez.
That means Henderson Alvarez's next start will be Friday in New York.
Friday in New York.
Possibly the Marlins rotation in New York would be Alvarez, Kohler, Fernandez, with Slowey coming in to make the start on Sunday. The Marlins don't necessarily need to have that 5th starter because they have an off day on Thursday. Well, a hit center field. Ozuna didn't move much, makes the catch. 1 hit, that's it. He has faced the minimum tonight. But talking to outfielders as well.
Hey, if he hits it over your head, it's his fault.
Yeah.
I don't want that blue kid. Attaboy. It made me laugh. Huh. You know, with him, I guess you got to stay.
Yeah.
But even so, that's his best ball you still got there.
Yeah.
Nice job.
So much of that
quote of the night.
Yes, so much of that, Rich, is the number one, the experience Brett Butler brings as a tremendous player, over 2,300 hits, but also 8 years a manager in the minor leagues in the Diamondbacks organization, the last 5 at AAA. So he's worked with a lot of young players. He knows how to communicate with them.
Vic Franklin is in the ball game. Franklin out of the Orlando area, Lake Brantley High School. And Fernando Rodney, the well-compensated closer for the Mariners, signed a 2-year, $14 million contract after a couple of terrific seasons, especially 2012 with the Rays. And here in the 8th, Donovan Solano Takes a fastball in from Rodney. Solano, Henderson Alvarez, and Christian Yelich. Alvarez is at 84 pitches through 8 innings. He's given up just 1 hit. That batter, Dustin Ackley, was then erased on a double play grounder. And so Alvarez has faced the minimum with just the 1 hit. Jam shot dumped into left. Solano has another hit. 2-hit night for Miami's second baseman in his first start of the season.
And good ABs every time. You talked about Fernando Rodney. 2 solid years. That incredible year in 2012 with the Rays. 48 saves, but he set a major league record for relief pitchers with 50 innings or more. A record that was held by Dennis Eckersley. 1990 had an ERA of 0.61, and Fernando Rodney's ERA that year was 0.60.
Alvarez bunts. Smoke is going to tag him out. It's the best contact that the Mariners have made on Alvarez all night. MLB TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Every out-of-market game streamed live online, or go to the app at MLB.TV Premium. Get a free at-bat 14 subscription when you watch live baseball on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Go to Marlins.com for details. Yelich, and then Ozuna against Rodney. Toyota trend. Christian Yelich and Adrian Gonzalez in 13 games. Yelich extended it with a double in the third. He's walked twice, a 1-for-2 night. Lively crowd here tonight, 24,000. Marlins last night on a Friday night had 21,000. Remember, tomorrow, Easter egg hunt before the game on the West Plaza. Kids run the bases. On a Sunday, a 1 o'clock start.
Crowd having a good time tonight.
Little wave action, which some claim, we have documented, that the Waves started in Seattle,
which most people would not guess.
Into the bat, flip towards the line, and a catch there. Actually, a guy that went on to a career in television, I want to say Entertainment Tonight, Rob Weller, a former cheerleader at the University of Washington.
I'll buy that.
Yeah, well, I'm not real convincing. It's been a long time, but I think he was the guy that takes credit for creating the wave.
Yeah, see, you would guess maybe in San Diego or Los Angeles. Los Angeles created a beach ball at a game. Well, you watch Fernando Rodney, and he goes at you with fastballs and changeups. He has a terrific circle change with great arm action to it.
He has a special cap made by New Era that doesn't quite fit squarely. Ozuna, a bolt of a home run that landed right in the pool in the Clevelander. Not only did the ball land in the pool, but an alert fan dove into the pool, grabbed the ball, and kept his cell phone in the other hand and kept it out of the water. Ozuna Finds a hole into center. Solano in to score. 4 RBIs tonight for Marcell Ozuna. And Miami's lead grows to 7-0.
All of a sudden, Marcell Ozuna in double digits in that RBI department. Got jammed, a little muscle shot into center field. Just adds on another run.
Stanton steps out. Giancarlo Stanton tonight. Miami has scored 7 runs on 10 hits. Stanton has been involved merely as a spectator who was pitched around in the first and the third with a couple of walks. And Rodney's fastball down by the knees. The crowd doesn't like it. I don't think Rodney was taking aim at Giancarlo. Swings and fouls it. 97 miles an hour on that fastball. Rodney last year gave up just 3 home runs in 68 appearances. 2012, that dynamite year, as you pointed out, a 0.60 ERA, 76 appearances, just 2 home runs.
You know, with his hat that way, it's tough as a runner at first to know if he's looking over there or not.
Wow, that's up and in, and that's a little too close for comfort. Considering the shot that Stanton had and the series that Stanton has had. One came in by his legs. That one came up.
Well, I think Stanton has handled it very well. Differently than we've seen other hitters. So to his credit, Giancarlo knows the score, knows that Rodney's out there not in a safe situation, trying to get some work.
So he throws a changeup and strikes him out. Big night for Miami. 7-0. That's a big big thing to do. Our AT&T Uverse Rewind reminds you it's not the first time he's done it. This was back in 2012 on Mother's Day with the pink bats against the Mets. A walk-off grand slam. 5 in team history. And the Marlins have done it 3 years in a row now. Jeff Mathis did it last year. I remember Dan Uggla's in 2008. That was against Tom Gordon and the Phillies.
And Bobby Bowe back in 1997. And yes, his name was Dan Uggla on that one.
Anderson Alvarez trying to put the finishing touches on a magnificent night tonight. Not a no-hitter, not a perfect game, but darn close.
Anderson Alvarez, Rich, has thrown 2 complete games and 2 shutouts in the major leagues.
Change up, 2 hopper, Solano, the first out of the 9th inning.
We'll never forget the one last year, the no-hitter complete game shutout. He had a complete game shutout in 2012 with Toronto.
So Ackley, who had the only hit, and that was in the 6th inning, he was erased on Zunino's double play ball. That's a fair ball. The third base umpire, Daniel Demuth, says fair ball, and into the corner it goes. Now, we'll look at it again. It's not reviewable. Anything on the infield, fair or foul, is not. And it must have hopped over the bag. Here's a look. Yeah, maybe it did. If it bounces over any part of the bag, it's a fair ball.
Yeah, and there was no argument by Casey McGee. I think he saw it. Veteran umpire Dana Demuth right on it.
Seattle has their 2nd hit. Nick Franklin up now. Seattle has their first base runner at second base. Lake Brantley High School, so many great players. Veritek, the Weeks brothers, Felipe Lopez, Johnny Venters, and Nick Franklin up in the Orlando area. Franklin bounces out. Checkers postgame is coming up. There's a lot to look forward to on this postgame show. Henderson Alvarez, a terrific night. The splashdown home run in the Clevelander pool, the first one to go directly into the pool in the 3-year history of this ballpark. And Brett Butler all mic'd up on a busy night at third base and in the outfield. And it's Checkers, Marlins Live, and it's coming up. Abraham Almonte with 2 outs in the 9th. Ground ball. 90-pitch complete game, 2-hit shutout. Henderson Alvarez. Outstanding tonight. And Miami has taken the first 2 games of this series. Last night a walk-off grand slam. Tonight a magnificent performance on the mound by Alvarez.
You talk about 2 different games, 2 completely different games. The walk-off slam and then just an outstanding pitched game tonight by Henderson Alvarez, who you could see it after the first inning that he was a much different pitcher tonight than he's been in his previous 3 starts. Great to see him with that kind of form this evening. And also an RBI single.
This is a Marlin team that came into this series having lost 9 of 10, and they've won the first 2. 7-0 the final.